Take two.
Okay. Anyway, so I watched Bone and I love that season, and ever since then I got back in it. I got my husband into it at Samoa right when Russell came onto the scene, and that's how my husband got addicted, and then we went back and started at season 1. I made my husband watch everything all the way through. We did it in one summer. We watched all like 30 seasons up to that point, and so now Wednesday night is date night. We get Chipotle, we watch Survivor. It's kind of the important thing.
I started watching during Samoa. I mean, I'd watched a lot of it prior to that, and I definitely had been following the challenges, but Samoa's the first season I watched the season. And it started during, ironically enough, the food challenge, which is the challenge I always skip when I'm watching the challenges, because Shambo was on that season, and she was just hilarious.
I love Shambo.
So I started watching for her and for Brett, if you're familiar with Samoa, and then I've gone back and watched the actual season for everything else, and I've kept current since. My Survivor knowledge background, I've written 3 of my college papers using or on Survivor. And one in particular that I think was the most academic of the 3 was statistically there is no statistical significance for any character trait that will help you win Survivor.
Yeah.
Gender, race are the big 2, but then breaking it down further, there is nothing special that says, oh, that you've got an advantage going into this.
My expertise, I've played all like 3 of the Survivor board games, which are all like trivia board games. They're technically board games, but they're trivia, and I've just memorized all the answers because I'm really competitive and I want to win.
But once you're there, once you get on the show, here's a little bit of some help for going further into the game.
Very important information here.
So we're going to start with, come on in, guys. These are your basic need-to-knows. These are things you have to win these challenges that we're going to be talking about all day.
How to swim. You need to know how to swim.
I was going to start with Jervis, but unfortunately there's this guy Keith on the new season.
And it's great because for once they did something smart, and after they found out he couldn't swim, like on the second day, they're like, we're going to teach you how to swim. And so like half of his tribe went out and was just like, come on, we're going to teach you how to swim. And like this is an important aspect of this game. It's very important to know how to swim, especially when they're in the South Pacific or if Ozzy's on your season. It's very important that you know how to swim.
And then the GIF on the left is from Second Chances, and it is the start of a challenge. Before the challenge even began, Jeff said, hey, there's an advantage, go get it. And that would be, wow, I should know their names, Fishback and Spencer. Yeah. Racing for it, Fishback got it. So knowing how to swim well, also very helpful.
A lot of advantages, you have to dive deep. Holding your breath is also kind of important.
Holding your breath's pretty important.
Yeah.
Walking a balance beam, next most important thing. Again, I wanted to use a challenge from an earlier season. I think it was Amazon. It was definitely a men versus women season, and the first challenge had this balance beam that the men couldn't even get across. It was the first leg of a 3-stage challenge, and the women won the challenge hands down because only 2 of the men actually got across the balance beam.
There is actually like some good data that females are just better at balancing. So in a balance beam challenge, you probably want to play the women on that, or like super tiny, scrawny guys.
I was really excited for Kelly and Keith to team up and like kind of do a spiritual secondary Keith. That didn't happen this season. But again, the new season just provided such a good imagery for why you need to practice balance just a little bit.
Because otherwise you'll smack your head on a piece of wood while falling.
Yeah, this was scary.
This was a very brutal hit for Kelly.
Yeah.
How to solve a slide puzzle.
Not just a puzzle. Specifically a slide puzzle.
And there are many, like, play the Rush Hour game, if you know the game Rush Hour with the little cars, and you can, like, move them all around to try and get a car out. That is that type of slide puzzle, or the one with the 16 numbers, and you have to, like, get them all in order. Those slide puzzles, they repeat on Survivor very frequently in all different forms.
I think we are 12 seasons in a row where a slide puzzle has been the final puzzle of the challenge. I think we might have missed 1 or 2 in there.
And normally who solves it has practiced slide puzzles forever and knows the algorithm for it.
And it's not even a difficult algorithm.
It's really not.
Like you want to teach yourself how to do it. You don't want to blow look up, oh, this is how you do it. Because as soon as you get that click, it's the easiest puzzle in the world. I love the in the water slide puzzle though. They've only done it twice, and I wish they'd bring it back.
Also, you need to know how to swim in order to do an in the water slide puzzle. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Very important. Learn how to swim.
And if you don't know how to do a slide puzzle already, just download an app. We live in a wonderful technological age.
And I highly recommend the game Rush Hour because I like board games, and it's basically slide puzzles but with cars.
Definitely. All right, so anybody want to venture a guess at what I wanted to put here?
Oh, yes.
Because I did, and I put this one instead.
Watermelon juice.
Which one? Not the watermelon. Oh, no. So he's mentioning the watermelon it's scene from The Amazing Race. If you don't mind pain and suffering and want some schadenfreude in your life, look up Watermelon Amazing Race. Yes.
Yeah.
Oof. Operating slingshot is not something you can necessarily do at home too easily. Harder to practice this one.
Especially with these big type ones, but there have been different seasons where they've used the ones where they're the tether type ones where two people hold the ends and you pull on slingshot, but they've also recently been doing these bigger build. You need all of your body weight to get these things to angle correctly. But you should at least be able to operate hand slingshots or even like the water balloon slingshots, practicing with those. Go get in a water fight with your family or enemies, something like that.
Don't do what he's doing.
Yeah.
You actually want that slingshot centered with your body. You want your feet squared. I'm not giving you a good example because of the table, but your feet should be pointing at the target. Definitely leaning back and then like letting go with gravity works, but you don't want it on your shoulder. You're gonna hurt yourself, and it's going to slightly angle to the side. So once you've gotten 2 or 3 misses, you'll be able to adjust appropriately. But to get it hit on the first or second time, center of your body. This is what I wanted to put, and I did anyway.
Yeah.
This is also from Second Chance.
And that's the wrong team.
And the point counts. All right, so I think, yes, I do have the video for this one.
Yes. Making fire. This is essential. The fact that, what was it, Jane practice?
Chain practice,
Yeah.
Tons of players practice. We're gonna skip over.
Skip to, tiebreaker challenge, which is fire.
Our making stations, whichever one you want. You each have the same materials. You each have
This is from.
and steel in the form of a knife. The same
Oh
amount.
no.
No.
This is from season.
You must build a fire with a flame high enough to burn through the rope. When you burn through the rope, you'll ring a bell.
It's the season that had the
You're going to be in
Alchemist.
the final 3. One of you go into the jury.
No. That was Simon's
Crowd
season.
ready?
It's on Joel When's the season.
Oh,
Spoiler, because this is like from 12 years ago.
sorry.
Sorry.
So look at how they start with a TV. That's bad.
The
Yeah.
person trying to make fire. First, trying to build the structure.
So this is great if you are at a scout camp and like you really do have time to just like mess around. But if you're trying to burn through a road in 2 minutes,
Trying to get a spark, trying to light it.
Yes, this is this is the best video. But seriously, practice making fire. You can get flint. I know in one season you did have the ability to use your eyeglasses. I think in the recent seasons.
They still let you.
They still let you. So yeah, learn how to make fire with the sun in your glasses. Somebody on your tribe's gotta wear glasses.
One other thing to notice is they didn't shave off any magnesium.
No magnesium. And they're like literally just jamming their machete there.
Oh wow, Fred Candace was on this season.
It's great. This is literally somebody said this is what lost them. Whoever wins, I can't remember who wins the challenge.
Oh yeah.
This lost it. This showed the jury that they didn't know how to make fire, and therefore after 39 days did not deserve to win Survivor. You cannot even make fire on day 39.
And it's really too bad because this is such a memorably good season. It's got Harmony for the first time.
Oh my
It's got
God.
Ozzy.
How? Exactly.
Oh no, it gets worse.
Oh, this gets so much better. Because
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for
Wait, seriously?
no, it gets worse. But so now, as of last year, the Final Four challenge is
Make
Make
Fire.
It's a permanent change. Oh shoot, I don't have the second part of the video. This is where he stops and
He
gives
goes,
them
we
matches.
are going to matches. That is literally what he says. It's the best. And then
30 minutes later,
one person runs out of matches.
she runs out of matches. She runs out of matches. The other person still has 3 or 4 matches. Because she runs out of matches, the other person stops and finally takes her time and does light the fire.
Oh,
If
and
they
then
both run out of matches,
they
I don't
both
know.
broke their flint. I think in the challenge, and they had to get a second flint.
That was off screen, but yeah.
Yeah. That whole challenge.
Cook Islands. I knew I wrote down what season it
See,
was.
I thought you had those on slides. So.
Learn to make fire.
Learn to make fire. Jane practiced and
or,
made
you
it
know,
like a minute.
You know, spend time on the island learning to make fire.
Because how to spell. Spelling is very important. It is actually lost people immunity challenges by reversing letters. We have dyslexia. Just really practice like the word immunity, or tribe, or liaison.
I didn't put the image in here, but I didn't put the image in here. But Dan mixed up Outwit, Outplay, Outlast. It's literally on the buff he is wearing.
Yeah, just
the
like
wrong
pull that
word.
down, read what's on your, it probably says Survivor on it. Learn how to spell those words. It has lost people and teams challenges.
This is a great challenge you can build at home. If you're going back and looking at challenges, this is actually something you could, for, I don't want to give a wrong price estimate, but for $30, $40, you could actually make a couple of these stations and the blocks. And that's not even using paint, that's just using Sharpie. Something you absolutely could build at home if you got a backyard.
You don't have a backyard.
All right, so you'll have to earn this one. I want to say is the Colossal Constructs. This one's the strategy one, yeah. So this is our strategy section. We got another video for you. I don't care for this video too much,
Yeah,
but
the video is not great quality. It's really the best one of this collection. So ignore the really crappy stuff.
Okay, then you balance.
So this is Game Changers. It's the second time I've ever seen them show free strategy planning.
In recent seasons, they used to show it all the time, but in the recent seasons, they haven't. They specifically show her saying, I have a great sense of balance. And it's somebody tying together every single time she had a great sense of balance.
No, I mean, this is a tough balance. It is.
They play together their first season. They're now against each other. Can they catch Z? Go, Aubrey, go.
And so I was reading, and I don't know how true it is. One of the reasons that they did that was because Brad Culpepper, who's in this season, he was a finalist in this season. He was portrayed as a major villain the first time he played. F.U. Brad Culpepper is a fantastic meme. There's lots of versions of it out there, but F.U. Brad Culpepper got him some big notoriety and lost some clients. He had plenty of problems with that. And so,
I love this comment. She's like, good job. She's like, screw you.
and so here Brad is again. And that he was legitimately worried that Debbie talking about how
strategize. It's a dictatorship with Brad just telling people what positions they're going to take. I have a really good sense of balance.
Okay, then you balance.
Yeah. And then this video goes on. We don't necessarily need to show the rest of it, but in the next challenge, she gets super competitive about how I'm better.
I'm not gonna show the full challenge, but I definitely want just the first bit.
Yeah, this is where the video is kind of mad. Like ignore this part.
Oh, slingshots.
Yeah.
I think you should bounce bands. I was talking to you. I mean, I feel like I should do it.
And I feel like I should do it.
All right, you got your shot.
All right, so they don't show pre-challenge prep because they just don't have enough time, but I wish they would more. It's so interesting.
It's a very interesting, it happens on camera, obviously, so if something does come up later, they can use it. However, who does what in a challenge that's a puzzle, the puzzle solvers especially, is something that you normally hear about later in camp.
So this particular challenge also is number 2, not in order, but the number 2 that we've seen so far on my top 5 list. Idle hands is something that you can absolutely do at home. My Boy Scout troop did this for years and years, and Spencer uses a strategy that I thought I'd figured out myself, but clearly other people do it.
So in this challenge, the whole point is whoever's idle touches the ground first loses, and then the winner either earns a point for their team or moves on. In this specific challenge, Spencer decides that he's going to throw the challenge by throwing his idol in the air in order to get the leverage to knock off his opponent's idol so that that idol hits the ground first. And that is a very interesting strategy in the sense of I'm going to sacrifice myself knowing that it could give me the advantage to help me win.
It's like if you're playing dodgeball and you run up to the line and you step over the line, you're out. But if you jump over the line, you can throw that ball until you hit the ground.
Yes.
Another great pick. This is from Kage-yan, the first Brains Bronze Beauty. This is not strategy, but it's also it's just kind of funny. Really try.
It only counts once it touches the sand, so.
Survivor is pretty famous for having loopholes be allowed in their challenges.
There's actually challenges they've stopped doing because when the dream team practices them, they imagine that people are going to do them a certain way, and then they find out that people do them a much easier way, and they're like, well, why did we do it all this difficult way? And it makes the challenge super non-suspenseful, and it's just like, oh, that was stupid. So.
And on top of that, the Dream Team, as of about 3 years ago, has been told, we're going to do a run where you're trying to cheat. And they just come up with really creative ways to cheat so that they have all of these loopholes they can then tell the contestants, but you're not allowed to do this, that, the other.
Yes. Play or eat. This is normally done at immunity challenges, and sometimes at reward challenges, but very infrequently. Play or eat is literally what it is. You're either going to play for immunity or give up your immunity because you think you're safe, you're not getting voted out, and I'm going to eat these cookies or these loaded nachos, I believe, as they were recently.
Oh, those loaded nachos did look good, but the pizza did not.
No, the pizza did not look good. Apparently, though, they were hungry enough that apparently it was good.
Yeah. So I'm plug yours now, but the last player eat challenge, it happens a lot, but the last player eat challenge, one of the players who sat out to eat was the one who went home.
Yep.
So this is actually from Africa, which is season 3. Yes, 3. This is the other take on the player eat, which is everybody's playing, but he'll offer you food to step out of the challenge. And boy, oh boy, have some players lasted a long time and gotten some beasts out of like negotiating with pros. I mean, this one went for 6 hours and 20 minutes when somebody...
Everybody remembers the chocolate and peanut butter negotiation.
Oh,
that's normally what people think of the first time that they play or eat.
For those of you who haven't seen that one, because it is from Australia?
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, it's from Australia.
Yep, season 2.
Jeff Varner, love the guy. I really want to meet, out of all the players, he's on my list of people I would love to meet and have lunch with and not talk Survivor. He has 2 of the top 5, top 10 worst moments, like feel bad moments, and one of them is he steps out of an immunity challenge for chocolate and peanut butter, and he loses that, he goes home that night, and he has not eaten peanut butter since.
So stepping out and eating the food is like, you're confident enough you're not going to get sent home?
Yep, confident enough you're not going to get sent home. And normally you do get sent home, so you probably should not step out. And there's also just a caveat on all the other stuff and things you should learn how to do, and that is listen to the rules, or listen, because there are times where Jeff will bring out a plate, and before he's even announced that he's giving you the ability to step out, you're like, I want chocolate and peanut butter. And he's like, well, I didn't offer it to you, so you just lost. And like, too bad for you. Who wants chocolate and peanut butter?
I only remember that happening once, but
It's happened a couple
I
times.
felt really bad for her the one time I remember it. All right, the one thing you should not do, and I don't have a GIF for this because there isn't one, don't throw a challenge.
Yeah.
Unless what's the kid's name? Brandon Hance is on your team. If Brandon Hance is on your team, go ahead and throw the challenge. Colton Crombie, go ahead and throw the challenge. He's not allowed to play. Bianca, throw the challenge, get her out of there. Anybody else, it could be Francesca. You do not throw that challenge.
Yeah, it is not paid off for anybody, and it might not necessarily, you might not think that it's cursing you, but like down the line, it is never paid off for that tribe. I think the statistics say nobody from a tribe that has lost a challenge. I don't think
not a single player not a single player from a tribe that has thrown a challenge, whether or not they knew the team was throwing it or not, has won the game.
Yep.
All right, so all the fixins. This is the challenges and then some. This is not a good example of the size of this challenge, but this is a 4-story ladder puzzle with different ladders every piece of the way up. So it was 4 different puzzles, all in the form of a ladder to climb up.
And you had to carry the pieces with you, I believe, up each step of the way, and most of the puzzles on Survivor are 1 step at a time. So you build a step, then you have to run back down. Build a step, run back down. If you grab the wrong piece, you gotta run back and get the next piece and try and keep building. It's very long endurance challenges to go up and down these stairs a million times.
I do like that they changed the rules, because the first 10 seasons, if you had a puzzle like this, you could just place them in where they went. You have to go each rung at a time on this one.
Yep.
Big old water slides. There's one better water slide than this, and it's off a cliff into a lake.
Yes.
But I couldn't find the challenge video, so I couldn't make a GIF. This is from Blood vs. Water. It's got Monica and Jervis. That just looks like fun.
Yeah, we just want to do that. If that was my whole Survivor adventure, I'd be pretty cool with that, going down water slides. Except sometimes they put like hay bales and like straw at the end, and I'm super allergic to that, so that would not be as part of a good time. But
that challenge with the puzzle actually took about 2 hours, because after your first run up those stairs, you're not running up those stairs.
Yep.
So what was the challenge for the water slide?
You go down the water slide, you get some puzzle pieces, you bring them back up, and you do that 6 times, and then you solve the puzzle.
By that 4th time you're going up those stairs, if you can see how big those stairs are, you are exhausted.
Oh yeah. All right, so this one is not a massive structure, but it is not something you could build at home either. Dominoes as a challenge is nothing new for Survivor.
Okay, so all the simple challenges, there's like a House of Cards challenge. I build houses of cards in my spare time. I do dominoes in my spare time. Like, I just find this super enjoyable. All the challenges that are like this, I love. The simplest concept, which is basically if you take those football, where they have to run through the tire and use both feet. This one was they had to literally high step through these rungs that if you bump them at all, your table would fall, or bump your dominoes down. So you would individually have to place dominoes, go back, get more dominoes, all the while high stepping through these narrow holes that if you bump anything, it's gonna fall over.
You bet they were feeling that in the morning.
Oh yeah, this is just amazing to me, the thought that goes into something that is so simple as build a line of dominoes that can hit this target at the end. But let's just add this tiny caveat to it. Now you're high stepping to do it. And every time all those things fall, you have to collect them all and start over. And if you knock your tower down, it doesn't hit that target, you have a limited amount of dominoes.
All right, so this is one of my favorite challenges in a different version of it, but this is something that I will never get to do. This is something you will never get to do. It's a table maze on the water.
I would love to do it. Can you imagine going to Busch Gardens or water country and be like, all right, everyone get up on this platform and bounce around to solve a maze. I just think that's great.
So why won't you be able to do this? They just stop doing it?
No, I mean unless you get cast for Survivor. If you get
And then
cast
they
for
have to
Survivor,
play this challenge too.
yeah, that's the caveat. But this water puzzle has only been on one season.
Yeah, I've only seen this once. They have a lot of different puzzles and slides, and I think the one that I really like is the ones where they have the same table maze, but you've got the handles, and you kind of have to navigate. Sometimes you're on a balance beam. There was one, I think, where you have to like keep moving backwards for as long as you wanted to like move your table maze. And these are just things like, even if they did this challenge again, what's the likelihood that A, you're cast, and B, you're on that season, and you last long enough to even get to that challenge, because as Jeff says, he'd love to snub your torch.
Oh, honestly, if I ever get on Survivor, one of my like, this is on my checklist is when I get voted out, all right, I did this myself, can I snub my own torch?
Yeah.
Absolutely gonna ask that.
My goal is just to win. I told you, I am there to win. That's it.
My goal is to convince the producers to let me play for honor, and like, they'll take me up on my, I don't want the $1 million. Like, give me the appearance fee because I need to pay my rent, but I don't want to play for $1 million. I just want to play to prove that I can win this.
He says that.
I do.
But I want to win. I don't care about anything else I'm winning.
Giant maze it is!
Oh, I didn't know the slide was in here.
Yeah, I added it about an hour ago because I wanted to add this, and just no Wi-Fi where I was staying all weekend and other issues, but yeah, I added it with my phone.
The giant mazes and the giant obstacle courses where you're like running across different like rope course type style and stuff. There's normally 5 and 4 or 5 and 5 challenges. Sometimes you're blindfolded, sometimes you're not. I would also learn how to navigate while blindfolded. Don't just run into things.
This one was not only blindfolded, but they used Braille to tell you how many steps to take.
Yeah.
They had about an hour to practice with Braille, and they were told, okay, this means take X number of steps, so you could get to your specific bridge. Ghost Island, I can't remember which one these ones were from.
But they're beautiful.
Reasonably new.
Yeah, all of these builds are beautiful.
Oh, they're gorgeous. All right, I got nothing for you. This is challenges that they don't do anymore, or they don't do the way we want them to do them anymore.
And we really want them to do them certain ways.
As we as panelists want them to do.
Yeah, not like audience. This is personal opinion.
All right, so they used to do ancient weapons. They used to do a lot of.
See, I put this under strategy, which is Ty here is a major strategist. Ancient
That's
weapons.
not Ty, that's Yao-Man.
Oh, the Yao-Man. Sorry, for some reason Ty and Yao-Man in my brain merged.
He's the only one to fire that bow correctly. Everybody else fired it like a traditional American to go to summer camp bow and arrow.
But he did something brilliant here, which you can barely see in the video. When he goes to pick his arrow, he picks up every single arrow in the quiver and rolls them in his hand. And he basically just like, what the hell, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm looking for the straightest arrow. So he literally rolled every single one in his hand, and then once he picked it, that's the one he shot. And like everyone like laughed at him and like all this stuff. And these are like little strategy things, like
he won all 3 of those.
every single one of them,
Yeah,
and
it was
each
a
one
3-stage challenge, and he won all 3.
he used like that, like not, he's like, I've never shot a bow before or anything like that, but he's like, I know the straightest arrow is gonna fly the straightest where I aim it. But yeah, they haven't done this in a long time.
They had a cool one where they used a cannon.
Yeah.
I wish they bring, but oh well. I also couldn't find a good video for this, so if anyone does find a good video of this particular episode, send it to me. This was the big
Burger Brawl.
I'm gonna jump to where I think.
We have the men up on the platform, the women.
This is the
Are the
only
shoes
challenge that this has
ready?
ever happened in the history of Survivor.
Is this a mud fight?
Pretty much. It's basketball and
It's rugby basketball.
so you have to like shoot it, but you have to fight for the balls in the pit.
Big battle on the ground. Bill, men, out of the challenge. First time in the history of Survivor.
And the
So
only
they can
time.
pick up the challenge. Takes
Yeah, he
5
just
years
flat out
to
kicked
die.
the other guy.
So at the point about 30 seconds before this happened, Jeff stops the challenge and basically says, if I see a cheap shot, I am kicking you out. They had people strangling each other in the pit. They had somebody, I think this is the first season they ran it when they kicked somebody out. The next season they ran it, they tried to like be like, hey, be nice to each other. and like James messed up his knee permanently.
Yeah.
Just from somebody like kicking him. They were strangling, they were like Indian sunburning people's arms
So
trying to get this ball.
So this was Samoa, and the next season after this is Euros Villains, and this is the first time they filmed seasons in the same location back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
So they left a lot of the challenges from Samoa, which is actually the worst challenge season since Borneo. I'll get to that later. But they left a lot of the structures up and just reused the challenges because it was cost effective. And this was probably at Survivor's we really need to conserve money stage if they ever had one. They haven't really had one.
Yeah. And that is banned. They have literally come out and said they will never play that challenge again because of how injury heavy it is and how somehow it turns every survivor into a raging lunatic.
So I'm gonna jump past this one pretty quickly. This is a challenge they do still do, but it's a throwback to a challenge they no longer do, where you are holding a percentage of your body weight. I don't know why they don't do it, but I'm sure it'll come back because there isn't a good reason for why they don't do it. But now they're doing these "you're holding yourself" challenges a lot more.
And sometimes they'll do the percentages of your body weight, but not in this section.
Yeah. 95% of the challenge. This is our section on puzzles because all those physical challenges in the individual stage of the game are just window dressing for the puzzle at the end of it.
Yep. This is amazing. Also, as a math person, I love this concept here. This is the type of challenge, they've done it a few times, I think they've actually stopped doing it now, where you have to like go through an entire obstacle course, get somewhere, memorize a long thing, and then go all the way back and write as much as you memorize down, and then keep going out, keep going back, keep going out, keep going back. Unless, of course, you're Steven Fishback.
He went out once, he assigned each symbol a number, and then memorized the telephone number. And was able to win when everybody else was going through this like mini obstacle course back and forth and back and forth. He did it in one trip, just got the answer right. Gonna skip, I thought I had a video for it. I'm gonna skip past the video that we don't have and jump to this one. This is Chaos Cats. In Cagayan, this is the challenge that kicked Spencer, one of my favorite players, out. They have reused this puzzle 3 times since then, and nobody has ever studied this puzzle. None of the players on those seasons had studied this puzzle, and it shows. So really, it's a wonderful 3D conceptualization puzzle. Most of the blocks are just regular blocks, but about 6 of them have half blocks. So you have to figure out how they like pitch into each other.
Yeah, and I love these type of concepts. They've been doing more of the 3-dimensional puzzles lately, where you have to, they've been doing now with like the planks, where you have to like pull out each individual plank in order to like swap them in. I don't actually know if it's a loophole, but I feel like you should just be able to lay out all the planks on the ground. I feel like that's like explained.
The team cheated at things.
Yeah, and like it's never shown that you can't do that, but I'm pretty sure you can. So that's what I recommend doing.
In an interview with a different player, Cass was about 10 minutes behind them. She was having really trouble with getting out of the water stage, and she was about 10 minutes behind them. She shows up, and peace. She didn't falter at a single time on this puzzle, and this is the first time Survivor ran this puzzle, and she just put it into place. Another thing to mention about this is the first time in years they had a final 2, and Spencer, because he's the only one who was listening at that point, Cass was euphoric, she had just won. The other 2 guys were not the most humble, they were pretty down. Spencer's paying attention, and Jeff says, all right, we've got counts tonight, we're gonna do the thing. And he walks back to camp.
Specifically say, plead your case to the final jury.
And so he's like, it's a final 2, not a final 3. And they vote him out, and then it was a final 2, not a final 3.
Yep. Pay attention.
Could not find my good video of this one. This is back to the reference. This was on Handles. This is Cochrane versus Ozzy in Redemption Island. It was, I think, Philippines.
Yeah.
I put Redemption Island, but it was actually Redemption Island 2. And oh man, if you can find a good copy of that video, that is my #1 challenge as aired. Not my #1 challenge for the challenge, but as aired, amazing. Kid could not do anything right. He taught himself how to use the grappling hook after Ozzy was leagues and bounds ahead of him, and he almost pulled it out.
Yeah. This is another one of those like 3-dimensional, this was a bone puzzle. I believe they had the hand tied behind their back.
They
That's
do have the
so
hand
weird.
tied behind the back. This is a puzzle you kind of can't do at home. The reason you can't do it at home, these grooves are all different, and there isn't enough detailing in the video to be able to tell how they made the puzzle, but the grooves are all different. The pieces do only fit in a certain way.
Like, yeah, you can only fit them in one way, and they have to like hang down and like latch in, or else like half the structure will fall apart.
And then on top of that, it's a huge balance one.
Yeah.
All right, dig deep. What was this section? I'm gonna forget already.
It's all right.
Oh, this is the duels section. These are the challenges where you have two people really going head to head against each other.
This is the one that everyone knows. This is the longest challenge in Survivor history. It went to the middle of the night, and they actually got actually flame torches that would float on the water so you could see the challenge play out. And eventually, so that's the elapsed time of this.
Ian steps down. Tom went.
So that's a really fun season to watch. If you can go back and watch Pull Out. It's Pull Out?
Imagine
Definitely Pull Out.
just sitting or standing in the same spot for nearly half a day. No food, no water, no bathroom break. I work conventions every weekend. I don't even want to stand in my booth for 5 hours, let alone on a buoy in the water for 12.
But yeah, Ian's one of my favorite players. Tom Westman, oh my God, great guy. You gotta watch that season. I'm not gonna tell you why. If you've seen the season, you know exactly why. It's Stephanie and Bobby Jones' first season. They come back for the next season.
Also, this has like one of the most, like, in my opinion, like happy, like feel-good winners. Like you root for them. You don't really care that they won. Like
No, I don't. I think Ian should have won.
he does, but I personally like it's a winner that you can't be mad behind.
To spoil the ending, because to put that in perspective, Ian jumps out of the challenge not because he made a deal with Tom, but because he said, "Look, you're voting me out now. I'm gonna go sit on the jury." Aubrey, oh man. I couldn't find the video where she spits because she spits on herself and it's kind of disgusting. But like,
Yeah.
she's up there against this guy. This guy's
This guy's a
a beast. He's not the worst in the season, but
No.
yeah, he was a jerk. This Co-Wrong is the least feel-good season of all of them, and that's including seasons Russell has been on.
But it has Ty
It doesn't have time.
and not Yao Man, as I like to confuse them. And it has really cute chickens that somehow survive. They don't get eaten. That's important.
Yeah, chicken meat today, 39.
And the final tribal council.
But yeah, she's really hanging tough, and he spits, and so she just turns and is like, fine, and she spits on herself. But great challenge. This whole challenge, this whole season has 3 or 4 of the best head-to-heads of the show's history. It just has a lot of really good ones. Sydney, earlier you saw in the How to Spell slide, she and Ty go back to back in one where you've got your hands behind your back on a post, and you just stand there. But we're gonna get to that challenge in this because they bring it back for David versus Goliath.
Yes. This is my favorite.
1 hour and 35 minutes.
This is literally my favorite challenge showdown.
This challenge was absolutely brutal.
It hurt.
Oh,
This challenge
Watching it hurt.
now that you're going to start to lose focus. So whatever you're doing to stay mentally connected, you better do it.
Hey, Jeff.
Yep.
Is it okay if I tell a story to pass the time? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So I was working on a project that
I also love the
it was
way they
about
edited
plant
this.
food growth.
Stay focused, Christian.
This helps me focus, Carl. Thank you. So it's my job to sort of quickly throw together a circulating
Alright, so I'm gonna jump to show
I
times
take a bunch of
now.
cards and just
Because we only have 5 minutes left. Well, we probably only have 4 minutes left at this point. Alright, show times here, please.
Alan, just close out. Christian can't believe it. Christian has just won individual immunity.
Okay, I'm showing times.
It was like 7 hours, I think Jester said. Christian literally talked his way into focus for 4 of those hours. He is so obsessed with Jeff Probst that he basically was like, I have a captive audience. I can just talk to Jeff Probst for 4 hours, and he has to listen to me. And so
that's something I've always said I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then he went and did it, and I can't tell people, hey, I want to do this because somebody's already done it.
And like at the same time, it was like he told stories. He explained. He's a scientist, and he's like, I explained how this random thing worked, and he was like telling how like random engineers work, how we sent a rocket to the moon, because he had this captive audience for 6 hours, and it was just the 2 of them for the 4 of those hours.
So I didn't have really something I wanted to put this in as, so I listed it as bonus content.
We'll speed through it really fast because we come to.
Yeah.
We'll get there first. Win immunity.
Slide puzzle.
Whoa, think she has it.
So when I was watching this, I was not watching it live. I was watching it on my computer the next day.
Tonight at Tribal Council. Looking out of this game.
And I literally was sitting there like, wait, Wendell had it.
What?
Oh, it's the same person. It's I don't like their editing.
But you gotta call him. You understand, right? Because a puzzle's not done until you tell me.
I remember this.
In one piece, where is it? Mike has his puzzle solved. Step back. Mike is staying alive.
No, when I had it, I was like, and I didn't say anything.
Yeah. But all this to say, we go to the next.
Shut up!
So as I'm watching this, I literally go back and I'm like, he did have it, but he didn't have it.
It's also part of that listen to the rules thing I was talking about. Very important.
Oh yeah. All right. So this is another. Oh wait. Okay. I do like how it's presented.
See him come back and read the votes. We all knew something was up.
Oh yeah,
This is our final slide because of this.
Get Probst! One! I think I'm down round! Win! Individualism!
literally the very next challenge. He's like, I learned to basically yell as loud as possible. And he's like, what do you need? He's like, I think I'm done, bro. That's important. And he was. And spoiler alert, cover your ears, he went on to win.
He went on to win because he gave Laurel the win, too.
Yeah. He also gave her
in the first jury tie ever. So Awesomecon!
Yay!
Where's the what? Awesomecon!
What?
I think we're done!
Bro.
No, thank you all for coming out. As every other panelist has said all weekend, go on Awesomecon's version of Guidebook. Give us the 5 stars so they invite us back next year where we can do our panel on
Board games and Survivor.
the social aspect of Survivor.
That's me.
I'm not as good at that.
But yeah.
Sorry for rushing you. We just 45-minute panels,
Oh
right?
no, yeah. Can't do much.
Drive safe, everybody. A lot of people can, though, and it's really impressive because so many people over the years